what we liked about the transaction and promoters was that it has a very different positioning in terms of the premium space. It had good unit economics. It was a profitable business, and those were the flavors of the season as well for 25. So you had to have a solid business, and we were able to reinforce that with the investors, Carpe Diem, who came in, who liked the story, and they saw legs to this and they backed it. And we are happy to see to have delivered it because it was a challenging environment because people thought the uniqueness has kind of fizzled out in the space. There are far too many Me Too's and all of that. And the fact that we were able to close that transaction, I think, was very good, and it continues to grow well. So that's a good story for us.
So, hi everyone, my name is Aishwarya from Tracxn Technologies, and today I'm really happy to welcome our special guest, Mr. Pankaj Karna, founder and manager director from Maple Capital Advisors. So, hi Pankaj, welcome to the interview. We are really happy to welcome you.
Thank you, Ashwarya. My pleasure.
Yeah, great. So we will be having a very relaxed conversations about how different IB or investment banking world works and what are the best practices to adapt, especially around valuation or deal execution and all. So to start with, could you please walk out throughout your background? What are the key milestones which you've achieved in your 30 years of experience or professional journey so far?
Thank you. Now, yeah, it's been 30 years. Seems like a long time, but it doesn't seem that long enough, though. It moved quite fast.
Okay.
Yeah, so I started my career, in a French bank called BNP Paribas in Mumbai, and in the corporate banking side, and spent about 3.5 years there before I moved to Rabobank, which was setting up its financial services platform in India, where I spent about 8 years. It was a great experience. We graduated from a corporate banker to an investment banker in that era, because it was one of the first platforms which was really combining financing with investment banking. Uh,
Yeah.
we capital market guys used to do it. This was an NBFC combining financing and investment banking, largely M&A private equity. So that was a great experience. We had done some marquee transactions in that era, and it gave me the confidence to actually pursue a career in investment banking. I moved on from there to Grant Thornton to establish their investment banking in India, which was over a 4-year period. Very interesting experience. Gave me even more confidence that maybe this is something I really want to pursue on my own. And
Okay.
in 2010, we established Maple Capital Advisors. Maple is now 15 plus years old. We are very proud to say we have survived well. We have made some impact in the space. We have landed up
Right.
doing 50 plus transactions in the last 15 years. And we have created a niche in the mid-market space for ourselves, essentially focusing on M&A private equity substantially. Then we do ancillary things. We do sometimes structured debt, and we also do some early stage investments. And
That's really great.
increasingly, we may be adding some capabilities on wealth as well. So that's a little bit about us. We have uh, we've had a very interesting journey. What has stood out has been we have been associated with companies from concept to IPO. We have
Mhm.
been companies like Office. We have been associated in multi-tier engagements, which means we continue to engage with people. It's not like one-time affair with companies. So over their life cycle, uh,
Okay.
and there are multiple such groups. M1 Group is another one where we raised capital in the financial services space from Amazon, BNext, others. They are a premier trades exchange. Trades, which as per the recent budget, is a hot topic.
Okay.
We associated with the group in their affiliated entities who diversified and acquired companies in HR tech. So that's a multi-tier journey. We have done very interesting work in new age businesses, uh,
Mm-hmm.
businesses like fitness, for instance, Fitness First uh, merger with Cult Fit when Cult was establishing itself in the fitness space. Uh, Similarly, Office was in co-working when hardly any names were there. They established themselves and they got first on the IPO block. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so, in the financial in the succession M&A space is a very interesting space for us. Over the years, we have done multiple transactions, whether it is Orient Bell Ceramics acquisition, or it is Mag Engineering acquisition by Sandhar, or it is Fresh Drop acquisition by D Hart. These are all reasonably well-sized, mid-sized transactions in the succession space, which is, I think, is going to be a very interesting space as we go forward. So, combination of things, new age, concept to IPO, uh, some traditional businesses as well, M&A, private equity. So combination of things, I think, has helped us maintain our position in the mid-market space as where we stand. So today we are in two locations, Delhi and Bangalore, and we are part of a global network in 30 countries called Pandian Partners. And uh, and I think it's very interesting times in India. Thank you.
That's really great. A really long 30 years of experience and very impressive. So could you please tell me in 2025, is there any one deal that's really stand out for you or made it very particularly memorable for you? And what was the reason? What made it special for you?
So, given the work we have done with Office in the co-working space, we were obviously well regarded in the space.
Mm-hmm.
But the sector has gone through a lot of its motions over the last 2 years. A lot of companies have listed, but uh, but there is a sense of evolution of the sector into something that people think it's been a bit volatile. It's how are the valuations stacking up? Those kind of questions. So we did
Mm-hmm.
corporate edge, which was and there are so many players. So what is the
Yeah.
differentiation? And that's a big question. So we did corporate edge capital raise, which I think
Okay.
was a very interesting. That's probably the last meaningful private equity capital raise in the space which has happened.
Mm-hmm.
What we liked about the transaction and promoters was that it has a very different positioning in terms of the premium space. It had good unit economics. It was a profitable business, and those were the flavors of the season as well for 25. So you had to have a solid business, and we were able to reinforce that with the investors, Carpe Diem, who came in, who liked the story, and they saw legs to this, and they backed it. And we are happy to see to have delivered it because it was a challenging environment because people thought the uniqueness has kind of fizzled out in the space. There are far too many Me Too's and all of that. And the fact that we were able to close that transaction, I think, was very good, and it continues to grow well. So that's a good story for us. Thank you.
That's really great. So one more question. How are you incorporating, traction like tools in your daily workflow, or how did tools like traction played a major role in supporting your or enhancing your work throughout?
So, we have been using data tools and databases quite actively.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and interestingly, our journey with Tracxn is only about a year old. So we incorporated Tracxn into our scheme of things last year. And I think and this whole journey on data is getting more and more sophisticated as we speak, because
Got it.
AI is getting very pervasive and active. And but yeah, I think Traction presents a very good form of presenting data, especially investment data into companies. And our team is very happy kind of using it because it gives a very user-friendly mechanism of accessing data, accessing cap tables, accessing investor activity, uh, company insights. So I think it's a great tool. I have a lot of hope in it to kind of evolve with AI to make it even more sophisticated and quick. But I
Mhm.
think it's one of the better tools that we are using right now amongst the few that we use.
Okay, that's really great. Thank you so much for your appreciation. So, what are the key market trends that you foresee in 2026? And what would be your top piece of advice for someone who is using Traction or likewise tools as of now, or has recently started using the tool?
So there are two or three trends I would say.
Okay.
Uh, uh, One is sectoral trends. I think uh, I think sectors with strong tailwinds are the sectors that at least investment banks would be focusing on. And we see clearly four or five themes there. One is clearly manufacturing.
Right.
Manufacturing, obviously, there's a lot of government and policy push on that. But having said that, I think the time is just about evolving there. Uh, uh, Manufacturing uh, on many verticals, I think verticals like the electrical space, for instance, because it's the bedrock for even power, AI, and all of that tomorrow, semiconductors, so, manufacturing for scale in electronic manufacturing. So I think those are very interesting. I think the auto sector, as it is resetting to uh, to newer forms of uh, EVs and all of that, so that I think is an interesting space. Um, I think consumer has got good tailwinds as well. It is continuing to be. And what is very interesting is I think I see India is now really getting into having a very robust middle market. The mid market, middle class, which as I would call it, I think numbers are quoting about 70 million at least. I think the number probably formal and informal combined should be 100 million people. At 100
Yeah.
million middle class, consumption is booming, and I think that is going to be a theme that one cannot ignore in 26.
Right.
Uh, Other couple of themes, I think it's agribusinesses. I think continue to see. I think there'll be evolution there. It is slower than other sectors, but more sustainable. And I think the benefits of digitization are playing out there as well. So I think sector is another one, and then obviously there is new age sectors which are always whether it is direct AI related or it is linked to defense. I think is another space which has got strong legs and tailwinds. Uh, uh, so that these are the spaces from a sector perspective. I think the other space is going to be interesting is as capital markets are getting so deep, preparing
Right.
companies for the markets. So pre-IPO markets going to be very interesting. Uh, it's preparing companies to list, whether the small exchange or the larger exchange is going to be very interesting. So we are orienting some efforts in that direction. Third, I think theme is going to be also succession M&A. Succession is a very interesting space that we see that as the generations are changing, and there is the very different thinking that the younger generation has from the swell generations,
Right.
and a lot more agility. So there is a lot of openness we see with sponsor groups who are getting into the gray years to explore M&A. So I think succession M&A. And the last theme I think is going to be maybe this will see the first revival of cross-border M&A in
Okay.
26 because 26 is because I think the geopolitics of it, I think the
Mhm.
alignments of what works for India, what doesn't work for India is pretty clear there. So countries like Japan, Europe are going to see more and more traction into India, is our view, and probably already we are seeing a lot of queries in that direction. And there we will see companies coming and establishing base in India or finding Indian companies going in those markets. So these are broadly the trends I see in 26. I hope I didn't say one too many, but I think there are enough things going on. Yeah.
No, that is very insightful and useful for a lot of investment bankers who are looking or foresighting their future into it. So, finally, one personal question I would say, and I saw some of your photographies behind you, and even I saw some of your postings, museums, exhibitions, which you have posted. So, I can understand that is one of your best or activity which you are really, really into. So, could you please share some of your
That's
insights
my
into
that's
it?
my hobby. That's my hobby. I'm a passionate photographer. And after you spend 30 years in investment banking, you have to plan for the next 30, if at all, if at all it is 30.
True.
And certainly you have to do things which you enjoy and maybe whereas you create a team which does all the deal making, so I have some time to do other things, hopefully. And so one of the things I'm really passionate about is photography. So I take it quite seriously. We do a calendar every year. So I'll send you
Yes, I
one for
know
this
that.
year if you would like that. But yeah, we do a calendar every year. I do participate in exhibitions, And I used to, when I was in college, I used to sketch and professionally sell my sketches.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't have the time for sketching, so I do now photography. This is it's become very. It's actually also very interesting because it is a lot of technology involved in it today,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it's a good marriage of technology and creativity. So I think it's something that we have to be incorporating in our lives and even professionally, technology and creativity. So I think that's the theme. That's why photography, great hobby of mine, and that's what I continue to do. Yeah, thanks.
That's really great. I know how hard it is for an investment banker, a founder, to handle both his work as well as, very passionate about something which is very, very important for his life. So I can understand that. And thank you so much for all your insights. It was really great. I'm pretty much sure that people will be really happy to see this interview. Thank you so much, Mr.
Thank you,
Pankaj.
Ashwarya. Thanks for your time, and thanks for getting us
Have
to
a
speak
great
out here.